Hi, I'm Diane.
And I'm Riki.
And we'd like to share with you a little bit about ourselves and our story and how we met. Maybe we should start with how we met.
So we met at Downward Dog Yoga Studio, which Diane opened in 1997. And I started to go to Downward Dog a week after they opened.
That's right. You were one of the first people in the door.
Mm-hmm.
And we became friends and colleagues at that time. Riki, I remember you started teaching in the Downward Dog teacher training program pretty early on, teaching anatomy.
And doing joint-specific classes.
Right, right.
So things like neck and shoulder and
Lower back,
that kind of thing.
Yeah. And then you went on to open your own business down the road from Downward Dog.
I did, which was Mind the Body. So it was mainly Pilates and yoga. Yeah. Then I went on to be a manual osteopath and opened a sports medicine clinic where we've got movement-based rehab. So very specific classes for regional issues, things like neck and shoulder, back care, hip and knee.
Mm-hmm. And you opened that clinic with
Dr. Raza Wan in 2011.
Right. Who was also coming to yoga classes at Downward Dog.
And coming to Mind the Body.
Right.
Taking Pilates classes.
And he was sending you a bunch of his patients.
Yeah.
And you were fixing them all, and he wanted to figure out what the heck you were doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and so then Downward Dog went on. Downward Dog still goes on, but I sold my shares 5 years ago at Downward Dog when I found out I had stage 3 breast cancer. And that was a real turning point in my life. And I wanted to really simplify my life and just figure out what I wanted to do for the next chapter of my life. And I realized that teaching vinyasa yoga the way I had been teaching it wasn't working for me anymore. The practice itself wasn't working for my own body. I had received a few injuries, and I figured out through my injuries that this practice on its own was not well balanced, wasn't enough for me. So yeah, I didn't want to be teaching that style of practice anymore. So that and the breast cancer gave me the courage to sort of move on. And I opened another studio for a few years called Ada Gladstone, and that was more of an alternative movement studio. We had all kinds of classes going on there. And it was during that time that I began to really explore working with elastic and resistance bands. And that was sort of the breeding ground for the evolution and the development of the body loop. And Riki, you've known about the body loop, and you work with resistance bands all the time in your practice, so it made sense to you.
It did. I just find that I'm constantly tying them and undoing them, and it's killing my hands because I'm doing it so much. So I love the way the body loop goes together with Velcro.
Cool. Yeah. And it's a project that's in evolution, right? We're really excited about the evolution of the body loop, and I know Riki has all kinds of amazing ideas about where this could potentially be going. Maybe we'll just give them a tiny little hint.
So I am super interested in reading across disciplines with research, and I am developing products that will reflect current research. Let's just say that. Okay. And we'll have videos on the site. Uh-huh. So I'm also looking at it as a way to bring different movement communities together.
Yeah.
And have lots of guest speakers talking about their passions.
Cool. Yeah, so we've got lots of different ideas percolating, and we're super excited to be launching our website. This is our first website and our first launch, and there will be lots of new and exciting evolutions of the product coming in the future.